Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
Hello.
morning.
How's everybody doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm all right, thank you.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm tired. The
Yeah.
hat cup's back.
Yeah.
It's back.
That's exciting.
Don't-
I was
hey.
just... No, I'm going to dob you in right now, immediately. I was just printing off my notes upstairs, and I heard from Ashton's desk, like... and I looked over, and she had she'd gone out of her way to decant her other drinking cup into the hat
I
cup.
filled up the wrong cup this morning for the podcast, and I was like, this is my new podcast cup, so I need to put the drink in here. I can't. It's just not a one-hit wonder. So I put my juice in this cup.
I was curious. I did think it was more of sort of like a stunt cup because you don't drink out of it at your desk regularly.
No.
It's just wheeled out for the camera.
Yeah. It's a stunt cup.
So if you're only
Exactly.
listening on the audio version of this podcast, you're missing out on Ashton's hat cup.
Yeah, you need to tune in. This is an Indiana Jones hat cup from the cinema that was discussed last week.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
It is very good.
I'm just going to stare at it for a
Yeah,
bit.
just admire it for a minute.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
By the time this goes out, we'll have played some Dungeons and Dragons, won't we?
We will.
We will have.
We're going to be doing that Friday night, which is very
Everyone's
exciting.
coming to my house
Yeah.
to play a game.
Yeah. Should be good.
We're preparing for something big. Hopefully, when we hit 300,000 subscribers,
Yes.
you might get a little D&D playthrough with us. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Maybe. As a one-off.
But the whole gang's coming to my house. We're going to have food and have some drinkies and some snackies and play some D&D. So
Very
that's exciting.
Will the hat cup be there?
Maybe, if I remember to bring it with me.
Yeah.
I'm
let's
not
say
coming if the hat cup is not
Well,
there.
okay, we'll come with me then.
Okay, good. Peter said the same thing earlier, by the way. I've got something in my eye that will just not go away. I keep rubbing it and then it goes.
Do you want me to look?
It's in this eye. There's something weird going on this eye.
Shall I... Phil?
It's a bit bloodshot. Maybe
I'm
I'm
just
just
keep
dying.
blinking.
Yeah.
I'll blink it out. It's fine.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm really uncomfortable right now. My eye's watering like crazy.
Ben's having a bad
I'm
time.
just so
alright.
excited about games. It
Yeah.
gets me very emotional, Peter.
I was just going to say, while that was happening, that we're actually sponsored each and every week by a very real video game adjacent sponsor, and Ashton has the ad read. for us this week.
I do. Sorry, I just did a burp, and I hope you didn't hear it. But it just kind of snuck out when I opened my mouth. I do have the ad read today, and you guys may know that there's a sequel to a game that Ben loves that's coming out this week.
I know that, of course.
Yeah, which Oxenfree, of course. You
Yeah.
like that game, and the second one's coming out this week. So that's
Is it
big news.
actually?
Yes.
God, I should have been paying more attention. That is exciting.
And as part of this kind of like campaign, they've reached out because I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like this new like illness going around that's
What?
giving everyone the jitters.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what
That's
you've
not
got,
what
man.
I've got. I've not got the jitters.
No.
jitters.
It's like
Is it the 40s?
yeah.
Jitterbug.
Yes. And so they've come up with like a campaign to try and help cure this illness that's going around. So they've released Neurotoxin Free 2 Lost Wiggles
Lost
to go
Wiggles.
alongside their game Oxenfree 2
2,
Lost,
Lost
Signals.
Signals.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, so they've
Wow.
it's a campaign to help everyone get rid of the wiggles because the neurotoxin's causing it.
It's causing lots
Wiggles
of
then
wiggles.
death.
So
That's
we
what's
need
happening.
to fix them. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's really good.
Can't wait to get my neurotoxin.
Yeah, well, you can't because it's not real.
Oh,
But don't
man.
worry, neither is the illness. So
That's
you've
good.
not
That's
got to
good.
worry
So
about
I'm-
getting the wiggles.
I am safe. I don't have the wiggles.
No.
I genuinely didn't know that Oxenfree 2 was out this week, though.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Obviously, you
okay.
didn't watch my video, did you?
Well, I did, but it was a while ago. It's been a whole week.
It's true, it has been a whole week.
I forget things quite easily.
You've slept since then, so that's
I
fair
have,
enough.
yeah.
But it is coming out very soon. I think either the 10th. I want to say the 10th.
Okay.
So
Obviously, you didn't watch your own video.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well,
it's not
I'm
the 6th, so I
very
know
excited
that
to
much.
play it. Shame that my wiggles won't be cured, but
Yeah.
the hunt continues.
Nothing
for
wrong with a little wiggle.
for a cure. No, we're not sponsored by Oxenfree 2. What's it?
Neurotoxin Free
Neurotoxin
2
2
Lost
Lost
Wiggles.
Wiggles. We are, in fact, sponsored by wonderful patrons over at patreon.com, where if you support us there, you can submit questions to this podcast. Loads of other flipping tiers available as well. They're great. go support us if you're in a position to do so. I'm not winking at you at home. I'm still just trying to process whatever's going on in my left eyeball, which is really exciting. Some people like to submit questions, and we really appreciate it. Just like,
wow, that took me by surprise.
Yeah,
Cameron
took me by
Keywood.
surprise too.
that's it. Keep you on your toes.
Cameron Keywood submitted a question and said, "Hi BAP, leaked documents from January 1996 show details of Sega's ill-fated battle with PlayStation during the 32-bit era. About 8 of the words in that sentence are capitalized, which also threw me off a lot. It's over 270 pages and includes Sega of America president Tom Kalinske stating, 'We are killing Sony.'
Got him.
What if history had turned out different and Sega won against rivals Nintendo and the upstart PlayStation? Would we all be hedgy wedgies anticipating the release of Sega Sonic Smash Bros? Or would they still have found a way to mess up and exit the console-making industry? Kind regards, Cameron J. Keywood."
Well, speak for yourself. I
would
think
have been a bossaroo.
we're all hedgy wedgies already and
That's true.
bossaroos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that, no difference made there.
Yeah,
I've got some
the two genders, hedgy wedgie and bossaroo.
notes on this. Yeah, it's a binary system.
Yeah.
Newly published document, this is from Games Radar, newly published documents highlighting the gradual decline of Sega's console production as it struggled to compete against Sony. Full stop.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
A 272-page collection of documents shared by Sega Retro features 1996 financial results and sales records from Sega of America, as well as comments from company leaders about the state of the industry and the newly released Sega Saturn. Despite a strong game library, the Saturn struggled constantly against the new PlayStation, which was younger and cheaper. The console features the collection features Sega's efforts to overcome those struggles. In one email, then CEO Tom Kalinske said that in Japan, "We are killing Sony. In every store, Saturn hardware is sold out and there are stacks of PlayStation." Singular. The retailers commented that they can't compare the true sales rate because Saturn sells out before they can even measure it accurately.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, famously, if they've not got one left in the
They
shop,
don't know
they're
how to
like,
measure
I don't know how many
how
you've
fast
sold.
they've sold. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're all gone, so how can we count them?
Yeah, how can we count them?
As Kalinske notes, however, the success in Japan wasn't matched in the US, where Sony massively outsold Sega throughout the mid-90s. As the documents moved to cover brand reviews of the Saturn and other Sega consoles, it becomes clear the company was struggling across the board. Consoles weren't making enough money, and much of the blame seems to fall on Sega's sports games. And it continues later on this article. In its own brand review, Sega noted that the PlayStation was perceived as a cheaper console with better looking games, better marketing, and a bigger budget behind it. Thank you, Games Radar.
Oh dear.
Thank you, Games Radar.
Thank you, Games Radar.
So, I mean, I know this is something that was said decades ago with, and now we have all the hindsight in the world to look at this. But when I saw the "We Are Killing Sony" thing come out on Twitter the other day, I thought, oh, it's a bit cringe, isn't it? It's a bit cringe. But so, I mean, it's all very interesting that this has happened. To answer Cameron's question, though, I think is pretty difficult because we're talking about a hypothetical scenario. So, I mean, I can at least say that if Sega had done really, really well and become like one of the leading consoles, then I'm sure there probably would be some like more Sonic fans out there than there are right now, and there's still plenty of people who are really into their Sonic. But I, for example, don't care that much for Sonic because I've never owned a Sega console. I've played a bit of Sonic here and there, but like never owned it. So maybe I would be more of a Sonic fan if Sega had been more in the forefront of the market. However, the second part of the question, would they have still found a way to mess up and exit the console making industry? I don't think we can really say because we're talking about a hypothetical situation where they rose to the top. So what led them to rise to the top? Would they still be doing that or would they not? I don't know because it's a made-up scenario. So I don't know if they would have found a way to mess up and exit because we're talking about a hypothetical really good Sega that did really well. So that's impossible to answer, Cameron.
Whoa, Austin.
Slam.
Calm.
But no, the first part of the question. Yeah, I think probably there would be some more Sonic fans and stuff. And probably some more Sega IP like that doesn't exist now. There may be some more series and characters and stuff. So yeah, what could have been?
You'd be a hedgy wedgie though, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
we'd all be hedgy wedgies.
We would, that's just natural, isn't
Yeah.
it? I kind of do think that they would have stayed in the console market. I mean, the Saturn wasn't terrible, and a lot of people rate some of the games that were on the Saturn, and they had
Sam Driver in particular.
Sam Driver loves them. And a lot of the time when we talk about kind of like older games and we look back at like the best of lists and stuff, the Saturn popped up quite a lot during the time of these like best games. So I do think that if they'd have stayed in and they'd have won, that maybe we would have been seeing a lot more from them, a lot more interesting consoles and stuff.
The Saturn 720 would be out by now, potentially.
Well, no, they'd have gone Xbox. It would just be called the Saturn 1.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I do think that like it would be interesting to kind of have another home console like person on the frontier. Obviously, we've got Microsoft and PlayStation, whether they would be in the same realm as those two, or much like Nintendo kind of doing their own thing. That would be would have been a very interesting thing to find out. Whether it would have been a challenge for Nintendo, and maybe if Nintendo would have survived as well, they were both kind of like fighting it out amongst themselves in the kind of handheld market nowadays. And obviously, again, we can't answer it because it didn't happen, but it is interesting to wonder like whether they would have gone into the home console market, or whether they would have kind of gone down what Nintendo did, gone for a more handheld approach and that kind of thing. And also whether, maybe they would have been huge in Japan and then it, trickled into the West a lot more, or whether like Nintendo, they would have just gone massive everywhere, but still have like a ginormous hold in Japan and lots of games that just come out in the East. So it is interesting to think about and wonder if they had like killed Nintendo, but maybe what if they'd killed Sony? That'd be interesting. If they'd have taken down PlayStation and we had Sega instead of Sony
versus Microsoft.
Yeah, Sega versus Microsoft, whether, things would be different. It would be interesting to know like what kind of games we would have.
Yeah. Like
such different kind of vibes from the get-go between PlayStation and Sega. So it would be interesting to see like whether we'd still all be playing, side-scroller, platformer, Sonic-esque games. Obviously there would have been evolution, but it would be interesting to see like where the different trends would have gone if Sega had have been stuck around.
Maybe Sony would have ended up in the position Sega is in now, where they're just developing games and they have no hardware.
Yeah,
and then just occasionally they bring out a game that is released on the Nintendo or something.
Yeah.
Whatever Nintendo console is out at that time.
I read a very interesting book, because I'm a nerd, called Console Wars, which sort of chronicles, sort of fictitiously, it's pieced together from lots of accounts and interviews, but sort of a narrative is being constructed in there, so that you got to take it with a sort of pinch of salt. But it's really interesting, an interesting insight into the Nintendo versus Sega battle of the early 90s. And of course, Sega did for a while beat Nintendo. They were the top brand in America, and when the PlayStation launched, I believe they were also ahead of the PlayStation for a while, probably around the time that this email was written. However, shortly after that, everything sort of went wrong and it kind of collapsed in on itself. It's really interesting to think about what could have happened, because having read this book and the sort of the story that it tells you within it, it's very much Sega being what's called a challenger brand, so sort of like an underdog. So they can afford to sort of be a bit more scrappy and scratch and claw, and perhaps use slightly more underhanded tactics, if you will, directly calling out Nintendo and saying, oh, they're rubbish. And there's also I think a Sega Saturn advert that was doing the rounds that directly calls out the PlayStation as well and says, look at the rubbish PlayStation. We're the Sega Saturn. We're the best. But that mindset didn't really seem to change when they became the market leader. They still behaved like that. And that's not the reason that things ultimately went wrong for them. But as we've seen more recently, with PlayStation being the sort of challenger brand going into the PS4 era, where, you can share your games. There you go. Haha. Isn't Xbox silly? Sort of poking fun at their rival. And then since they've been the market leader, they're just so bloody boring, aren't they?
Well, you could say the same for back in the 90s as well, when the PS1 was first sort of shown at E3. Famously or infamously, they just walked up on stage, said $2.99 and sat down again.
Yeah,
that's not a professional move, is it? To just go and do that, but you could do that if you're just launching your first.
That. Yeah, if you're in that position, it's the same reason why Xbox are doing all the crazy, interesting marketing stuff now, because they are still a billion-dollar company, but they are technically the challenger brand in this situation.
Like that social media post they did say after all the PlayStation games, all these games coming to Xbox as well.
We see like a lot more like Xbox partnerships with like the Oreo PlayStation, Xbox, the Barbie Xbox, the fridge.
You can get the fridge.
You definitely have a lot more like marketing. Clickbaity kind of stuff.
Exactly, because they're in a position where it makes sense to do that. There's something that's very different about Sega's approach in the 90s that worked really well for them initially to get them to that point. But when they got to that point, the tact didn't change. And I don't know if that just stopped resonating with consumers or if genuinely, the PlayStation ultimately had better games and was cheaper, and as you read in that article, the public opinion ended up swaying. But certainly it was interesting to see Sega not change their marketing tact from being a challenger to being the market leader. So I mean, the hypothetical, could they still be there? I don't know. By all accounts, a lot of people at Sony, and by people I mean senior stuffy execs in Sony of Japan, did not want the PlayStation to happen at all. I think if I'm remembering rightly, citation needed, it had to be spun off into the development of the console had to be spun off into like a division within Sony Music so that they could make it without annoying anyone, sort of in secret in a way. And then they ended up releasing it and it did really, really well. If they were killed in that first generation, you wouldn't have seen a PlayStation 2. There's no way that Sony would have gone for that.
So it was just a byproduct of the Nintendo disc drive, wasn't it? Whatever that was going to be called. It was
the Nintendo PlayStation.
Well, it was just before it became its own thing.
It's all really interesting, and we're seeing a lot of this sort of archived footage coming to the fore at the moment because of all this amazing stuff that NoClip has found. The boxes and boxes of old tapes of E3 presentations and hands-off gameplay demos. So we're probably going to find a lot more information like this in the near future, and it's going to be really, really interesting. But I would recommend reading the Console Wars book if you're interested in that.
It's interesting to know like what the butterfly effect is. Like if Sega had won, how that would change everything. Like whether consoles would be completely different now. It's interesting. It's an interesting like thought experiment, but we'll never know, which is it's a shame. But hey.
We will never know, but we do know that we're all hedgy wedgies.
Yeah, and bossaroos.
And bossaroos. And if you're unfamiliar with that, those were some of the trial names that Sega came up with in a marketing, what's it called? Not brainstorming, where you get punters
Pitch.
Not pitch. You get punters in. You talk to them. It's
focus group.
Focus group. Thank you. Yeah, that was some focus group titles that they came up with for gamers and Sonic the Hedgehog fans.
Yeah,
which obviously stayed with us forever. So there we are.
Of course.
It's time for something a little different, Ashton.
It is something brand new that we've never done before, brought to us by our very own Billy. He's came up with this idea and he said, I think we should do it in the podcast. And we were like, of course, our Lord and Saviour Billy, of course we will. It's called What We Playin.
It's What We Playin time. Time to talk about what we've been playing. Up first is Billy Ray Walrus, who's not been playing anything this week.
He doesn't have articulated arms, so he can't.
He's got a guitar glued to this one, so there's no way that
he's not even been playing his guitar because it's broken.
Yeah,
bless him. It's been broken for 5 years.
He kept sending us super glue, and we were like, "Thanks," but
people have now stopped sending us super glue because they know that we're just going to sniff it and we're not going to use it on the guitar. So there we are. Peter, what have you been playing?
I played a little bit of Star Wars, and I'm still really enjoying it. I've said it before, but I just like being able to run around, like run on walls and stuff, and do flips, do a flip. It's just nice to have a character that can do that. I just feel like it's been a little while since I've played a game where my character is as agile as Cal. And also, I'm finding him just less annoying this time.
Yeah, he's definitely less annoying.
He's more confident.
And
he's grown up and matured.
I've not been customizing my character at all because for some reason that just doesn't interest me. I don't know why, because I generally quite like character customization, but can't relate. But I think the stubble works for him as well. It just adds a bit of edge to him and makes him look less like a school bus bully or something.
He does look a bit like, what's the protagonist from
Jimmy Hopkins?
Jimmy Hopkins.
Yeah, when he's got no facial hair. Because people in the Star Wars fandom have said for a while that they should get whatever that guy's name is in real life, the actor. who plays Cal Kestis.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what his name
Him
is.
in, and like they were like, he could have his own live action show because he looks identical to the character. They could just hire him and they could do a Cal show.
He'll show up in something.
Probably.
I'm almost certain of it.
And I've thought for a long time, like, oh, but I don't like that character. I was going to say that guy. I mean, that guy, Cal Kestis. But I'm now at the point where if it happened, I think I could sort of get along with it.
that.
Potentially.
So now they have Peter Austin's blessing.
They do.
Yeah.
Now they'll do
You
it.
can do
Now
it,
that
Star Wars.
it's official. I can confirm Cal Kestis, the show, coming next year.
He's going to be in Ashoka.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
God, a shaker. I don't bloody know. He sort of won me over in the marketing material for that because I think he was going out on stage and talking to people. I just saw like a montage.
At Star Wars Celebration, he did a big thing, and then he gave the poncho that he was wearing to someone who was dressed as Cal Kestis.
That's great.
He was like, "You look great," and then as he was leaving the stage, he took off his poncho and he handed it to them, and they were like,
He did this whole thing about the poncho where he just, whenever he was spoken to, he would just change the subject to ask, "Where is there a poncho in the new one?" That's all. That's all he was asking over and over again.
They did quite a good ad with him and Mark Hamill as
Yes,
well.
that was a good
where he was
advert.
like teaching him how to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
And he said, "Well, I didn't get 2 lightsabers."
Yeah, he's like dual wielding, and Mark Hamill's like, "Oh, what? I didn't let you use it." So yeah, I've been playing more of that. Still really enjoying it. I'm stopping to smell the roses and stuff, so it's taking me a while to get through it, but it's a good time. But also last night, well, actually 2 days ago, I bought but played last night the Spyro Reignited trilogy for PC. It's really cheap on Steam right now. It's 75% off.
Seems so.
And I, for reasons that are kind of boring and stuff, like basically I wanted to capture a load of footage for something I'm just doing in my own time, and I thought I could bring my PS5 up to the PC and plug it in and then use OBS. And then I thought, well, I don't know how good that's going to look. So I just happened to look at like, oh, how much is it on Steam? And there's just a massive sale on. So I bought it and now I can play it in like ultra quality and capture the stuff I wanted to capture. So I last night played the first half of Spyro 1 in one sitting. Got as far as Beastmakers. Now I've
love Beastmakers.
Got some Beastmakers levels to do tonight. So that's what I've been playing this week.
You're looking forward to going back to it?
Yeah. Although I have been like, it's the most speedrunny run I've ever done in Spyro because I am just trying to get all the levels unlocked so I can just do what I want to do. That's the only reason I'm playing it, is to like unlock the stuff I want to capture. So I've been skipping all the dragons for the first time in my entire life. Not listen to what they want to say to me.
Oh no.
Just charging through. But so yeah, it's not the usual way I would play it, but I've still been enjoying it. So yeah,
they're going to think you don't love them anymore.
Yeah.
they are. I know. Well, it's all right. It's the reignited ones. I don't care about them as much.
Okay.
Those low poly ones, though, I wouldn't ever want them to think I don't love them.
My boyfriend booted up his PlayStation 3 the other day, and Spyro 1 was in it, and he was like, "Oh, this one's only got 50% complete." And I watched him run through the rest of the game in the evening, and I was like, "Wow, nerd." It's these Spyro nerds.
What have you been playing, Ashton?
I've been playing a few things. I'm kind of in this weird space where I want to play all my like backlog games and games that I've been wanting to play for a while, but I just keep going back to sandbox games and just spending hours just mindlessly doing that. So I finished Assassin's Creed 2.
Nice.
Finished that the weekend. I was gonna get all the feathers, but I decided I don't care enough.
Oh, the feathers are so
Mum
annoying on that
can be
game.
sad forever. She's been sad for 40 years. What's a few more? She's basically on death's door at this point.
Yeah, she's going to die now.
Who cares?
Who cares?
She got 50. That's enough. I don't know where all these feathers
Maybe
are.
she's
Mom.
trying to build a
Jesus
bird.
Christ.
Build a bird workshop.
Yeah, build a bird workshop, exactly. And I'm going to hold off from Brotherhood for a while because I have other stuff to do. And then I started Dishonored 2. I didn't realise, well, I did. I think I did know, but I'd forgotten that you can play as either Corvo or Emily in the second game. So I picked Emily. And I also thought it was fun that you could play with no powers. But I said, no thanks. Give me the power to zip around. I don't want to have to walk everywhere.
Blink is one of the best powers.
It really
yeah.
is good. And I've been enjoying that so far. I'm interested in the story. I think it's a real upgrade from the first one. I've kind of missed the style of the first one in terms of like the visual, because obviously like it was criticized a bit for what it looked like, but I really liked the art style of the first one.
I loved
So
it.
they've kind of like toned it back a little bit, not all the way, like it's still got that kind of, it's not cell shaded, but that kind of cartoony-esque thing, but it's definitely pared back a little bit, which is a shame, but hey.
I don't think I
That's
knew that
alright.
people criticised the way the first one looked.
No, me neither. Well,
Yeah.
they're idiots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
And
are.
if you criticize it, you're an idiot too. I'm just going to say it. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah. I still haven't finished Hellblade. I keep meaning to go back to it, but I keep forgetting. And I've been playing some more Minecraft Vault Hunters. Basically played that all weekend. Sat back to back with my boyfriend and we barely spoke the whole time and it was great. And then I've also been playing Planet Zoo and I played it on stream last week and this week. And then after my stream last night, I went on Steam and it's on sale. So I bought 2 of the expansion packs and then played all night until I went to bed.
What's in the packs?
I bought I already had 2 packs. I had the like Arctic pack and the Savannah pack. So then I bought the aquatic pack so I could have walruses and penguins.
Nice. Billy?
Yeah. And I also bought the Africa pack so I could have little fennec foxes
Ah.
because they were pretty cute.
Mm-hmm. Are they all breeding all the time?
Yeah, my zoo was getting out of hand. They kept having fights because they kept just like uncontrollably breeding. So every time
my
there was a
God.
fight, I was just selling animals. I was like, get out. And then my spiders kept breeding. And then they'd be like, there's too many spiders in the pen.
Oh
But
my
luckily,
That's way too many spiders.
if you've got an exhibit, which is different from like a habitat where there's like actual animals, if you've got an exhibit, you can just set it so that as soon as it like fills up, it just automatically releases the spiders to the wild. So I'm just like, it's like a hole in the exhibit and it just goes
You
out.
just let
Yeah.
the spiders
Yeah.
roam.
The
Speaking of
guests
spiders,
are just...
Oh,
looking around.
there's like 4 spiders in the toilet downstairs next door, and I'm pretty sure Dylan 2 is either inviting all of his friends round,
or they're
it
coming
is,
from your zoo.
or
Yeah.
they're coming from my zoo. Exactly.
Or he's somehow asexually breeding like mad.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of spiders in there. I took pictures of them because I was like, look how many spiders there are in here. So many. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. I'm really enjoying it, but I do need to concentrate on the games I'm playing because I played something else I forgot to mention. I played the Pikmin 4 demo
Oh, yeah.
this
how was
week.
that?
Really good, really long. I played for like an
Really
hour
long.
and a half. There was like quite a substantial demo because it lets you get up to like 1,500 shiny points or something, which is kind of like most of the first level, and your progress carries over into the full game
That's
Nice,
if you buy
nice.
it. And I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited for Pikmin 4 to come out. I've kind of been like umming and ahhing. I was like wanting to play it, and then the last like extended gameplay demo they showed us kind of put me off a little bit. For some reason, I don't know why. I think it was like they were just showing me too much and it looked a bit too complicated. But actually, it's not complicated at all. And I'm enjoying it. So hopefully, when that comes out in a few weeks, I'll be able to give that a proper go. But that's kind of the next game that's coming out that I'm like really excited for. There's also a game on PlayStation called Viewfinder that I'm really excited for, but that one I can wait.
I've heard of Viewfinder.
Is that the one where your pictures
You take a picture
become...
and then it like
Yeah,
becomes
that's
real.
been in development for a long time.
Yeah.
Is that a VR game or am
No,
I
it's not a
mistaking
VR
that for
game. It's a
another one?
PlayStation game. It's not a VR game.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds... I have heard of that before.
Yeah, but that's coming out soon. So
I feel like I've been watching that for like 5 years
yeah,
on
it has
Twitter.
kind of been. I kept being like, "Is it out? Like, did it just like sneak past?" But it's coming out. I think on the 18th.
I think it may have originally started as literally just like the concept, like someone just said, "Hey, look at this fun thing I made," and then they've just slowly been turning it into like an actual puzzle game,
Yeah.
which is cool.
But it's cool. It looks good. But yeah, played Pikmin 4 demo. Pretty good. If
Nice.
you've got a Switch, I'd recommend giving it a go.
Have you met Ochi?
I have. Yeah, you meet Ochi pretty early on. When
How
you
is-
meet him, he's a puppy,
Okay.
and
What?
then
I mean,
he grows overnight, and then he's a big dog.
he just looks like a bit of a monster, doesn't he? Is he just
He
a smaller
doesn't-
monster?
He's
And he's a
not a
puppy.
monster.
He
You
is a
just you
monster.
think he's scary, but he's not.
He's really scary. I'm scared of Ochi. I think he's going to hurt me.
Ochi's not going to hurt you. Ochi's a
might
nice
do.
boy. He just likes you.
I
You're
don't
best
like him.
mates.
I don't like him.
Apparently, according to Pikmin fans, Pikmin 4 seems to like rewrite the canon of the
Whoa,
Pikmin
my
stories.
goodness, the
Oh, no.
prestigious lore.
The PCU,
Yeah. Exactly. PKU. PKCU.
PKCU.
If you want.
Goodness.
I don't know why the K's in there. That's wrong. Anyway,
Pikmin
I was putting the K, but I probably meant the
cinematic
M.
M.
cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that,
That's all I've been
That's
playing
what
this
you've been
week.
playing.
Yeah.
Okay, I've played a few things as well. I bought Loco Roco, which was on sale for like dirt cheap.
I played a lot of that during the pandemic.
I love Loco Roco. It was originally a PSP game, if you're not familiar. It's super simple. You just use one of the shoulder buttons to tilt the stage one way, and then the other shoulder button to jump, and and then change it up depending on which way you're leaning. Yeah. I never had Loco Roco on PSP, but I used to borrow it from my friend, and I played it a few times there. And my only memories of it were like the first couple of stages, which is super chill. There's like no hazards. It's really easy. And I thought, God, I could go for something that's really easy. And then I played a few levels, and then obviously it gets harder, and there's hazards, and the jumping isn't precise enough. So you hit something, and then your little Loco Roco blob flies away like a ghost, and you can't get him anymore. And I was getting all cross, and I just want a full game. How hard would it be just to have a full game of really colourful, zero stakes platforming?
You want I was gonna say Flower, but that's not platforming.
Yeah, I've played Flower loads. I want Loco. Anyway, I really enjoyed Loco Roco. It's just so bizarre.
Exists, but I'm trying to think what it would be.
Yeah,
I just want to jump and pick up things.
Yeah,
maybe Rayman.
Yeah,
Rayman.
I mean,
there is hazards in Rayman.
Rayman is pretty hard. Rayman.
Yeah.
I played Rayman 1 a couple of years ago because I want to play Rayman 2 or 3 when it got 3D. I've always wanted to play that, and I never have. And I was like, I'll play the first ones first. The first one got really hard really quickly. I was like, flip this. I'm not playing this anymore.
I think I played Rayman 3, the 3D one, and like as a child, and I got to a bit where I was like, I just don't understand what I'm supposed to do next. And I was stuck there for ages, and I think I never went back to it because it was too hard.
I don't like Rayman. I've played Rayman on a few occasions because it just feels like a launch game that's been with every console from 1995 to 2004 or something. It was even a DS launch title, I think. It's been on everything. So I've played that a few times, and that's not fun. I don't know what Michelle Ancel was smoking.
No.
Rubbish game. Then it went 3D. Still, Michelle, rubbish. Try again.
They played that one as well.
I played a bit of one of them. Yeah, I'm obviously being facetious, but Rayman Origins and Legends, I feel, might be more.
That's
because I've dabbled with those a few times, and largely it's just jumping over spikes and punching things, and that might, Anyway, Loco Roco's great, and it's really weird, and I'd love it if they made another one, but they won't because as we said, they're market leaders. They don't have to do anything weird anymore. They're just going to make The Last of Us and Horizon until the heat death of the universe, and we just got to get on board with that, and that's okay. I've also played more Diablo 4. I've played a load of Final Fantasy 16, and that's great. I'm really liking it. Having a good time with that. That's been the main thing that I've been playing. Don't really have anything else to report on that front because that will be spoilers. Pretty much. Just go listen to the review corner from last week.
I've heard people have mixed reviews about Final Fantasy 16.
Everyone says this to me. Everyone I've spoken to, because James said the same thing, that, I've heard mixed things, but I've not.
I think I've just seen people be like, it doesn't really feel like a Final Fantasy game. Yeah. It feels like a very different genre and like style. I've also heard people say that the story really just doesn't kind of feel like it pans out at the end, but obviously
okay, well that's
I've heard people say,
but I've also people who really like the story, so who knows.
I'm enjoying it so far.
I've heard people say that they've seen mixed reviews on it. I don't think I've seen any.
I feel like I've heard more people say that there are mixed reviews than actually seen the reviews. That's a good point. But people are their own proclivities, whatever the phrase is. I personally am really enjoying it, and I think it looks very pretty, and I'm having a great time.
Good.
So it's currently hitting seemingly a lot of the same kind of story beats as Final Fantasy VII for some reason. There's a lot of sort of shared beats in there. I don't know. My brain's not working today.
Shared themes?
Themes. That's it. Thank you.
Got you back tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to go to bed, I think. And apart from that, I played a little bit of Chivalry 2, which I still don't like. I was just playing
Why did you play that?
I was playing with some friends last night, and you can play and you can have lots of players in it, and I'm just tired of. I'm not good at it, and I just die. And I have to run. I have to wait to respawn, and then to run back in. And I was tired.
I didn't even add it to my library because I was like, nah,
not for you.
No thanks.
Yeah, I don't like it. And golf with your friends, which everybody loves.
Good game.
That's a great game. Except most of the stages are just unbelievably hard.
Yeah.
Some of them, the first few, easy.
First game we ever played together.
It is. We did all
play
golf with your friends.
That's true.
When we got to know Ashton a bit, and that's all I've been playing.
Oh, but wait, before we go any further, we forgot to say it's Review Corner time. Hello, welcome to Review Corner. I'm here, Peter Austin, with James Jenkins.
Hello.
Welcome in, James, because you've been playing. That's why no one thought to say Review Corner, because none of us have played the game.
I can't believe it.
I'm sorry, James.
They forgot about it.
We forgot about you, as always. No, we never do.
It's not about forgetting about me. It's about forgetting about Dave the Diver.
Well, that's exactly right. We would
Poor
never
Dave.
forget about you, but we forgot about Dave.
No.
So tell us about Dave the Diver, James.
Certainly, yeah. So Dave the Diver is it's interesting. So it's a mix of a lot of different things. It's kind of weird. So it's like it's sort of pens itself as like an adventure RPG management sim hybrid, and it's also got some like roguelite elements.
Okay.
And it's a weird one. So I'm gonna try and like explain this as best I can. Obviously, it's if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the footage, and you can also see how beautiful it is with the 2D pixel art and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did you stream it?
I did indeed.
You did,
last
yeah.
week. Yeah, so I streamed. Was it last week? Oh my god, this week feels like it's gone on way longer.
Yeah.
But
It's on the
I
VOD's
did
channel
stream
as
it.
well. Then, if people want to have a look.
Absolutely, yeah. Good shout. So by day, you're a diver. Called Dave, who is a lovely chap, by the way. All he wants to do is just dive and catch fish. So yeah, that's sort of like the roguelike element there. You dive in a semi-randomized ocean,
Right.
Catch fish with your harpoon gun and various other means, collect up resources, and go about your business and do various other quests that pop up. And then by night, you are running a sushi restaurant. So, yeah, and it's that bit is interesting. So you'd think, at first I thought you'd be actually cooking the dishes, but you're not necessarily. You've got your boy Bancho for that. His name's Bancho, and he's an expert sushi chef.
Right.
So he does all the cooking. All you're doing, at first at least, is delivering it to the customers and sorting out like the menu for each evening. So you get like 2 sessions of like day diving,
Right.
or Dave diving or whatever, and then one session of like the restaurant aspect.
And is it dependent on what you caught that day specifically, or?
And so it's I don't believe things like go off. So it depends on like what you sort of collect. So you could collect up quite a lot. And actually, that's a good point. Usually, you want to eat seafood like pretty much the day it's caught, right? We've I don't believe the food goes off, but yeah, you just collect them, and then based on what you've got, you can then start putting on like increasingly more complex recipes,
Right.
And then it sort of piles on more and more features on top of that, like being able to research recipes and. And then because like you'll start getting in more and more customers, you can hire staff to help out either with the cooking or help you with serving. And there's also like a few other like little mini games, like being able to like pour the drinks and stuff. There's just it feels like it's still sort of introduced. I've played a good like maybe 10 hours now, and it still feels like it's introducing a lot of stuff. It's crazy. It's one of those games that's like it's very satisfying. It's a very satisfying loop of like you don't realize how much time has passed until you sort of check and realize, oh well, I've just been going through the different processes each day, and collecting up resources, getting more things, and then back in to fish out more stuff. But the game could have been perfect if it was just like that. Like it could have been pretty good. I say perfect's a strong statement, but there's a lot of story elements as well.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of weird. So the characters are just fantastic. It's very sort of light-hearted, very silly. There's a lot of weird characters, like one of your, I think the what's his name? I've forgotten his name, but the owner of the restaurant is like a weapons dealer.
Right.
For example, you've got some tech wizard who's also a big, like anime fan and keeps bringing that up, and and who's also very mean to Dave. A lot of people are mean to Dave. It's not fair. I know. He's just
they've worked so hard.
Yeah, that's it. And there's a lot little threads that start popping up. So yeah, you've got obviously the store and like repairing a bit of earthquake damage to start with, and then creating a successful business and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But then you've got a researcher who's like, oh, what about I've heard about these sea people that may or may not exist.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you've got missing shipments. You've got potentially big, scary, monstrous fishies.
Okay, yeah.
Because there are, when you're in the diving aspect of the game, there are some aggressive fish. There are dangers out there. It's not all sort of fun and games, like just catching fish. Sometimes you are the predator. You are the prey, I should say, rather than the predator.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's pirates there. There are aggressive environmentalists.
Okay.
Who this is quite a funny thread that just sort of opened up where they're like, oh, you're causing damage to the sea, yet not too far later on. The same dude is launching an underwater grenade launcher at and damaging the sea himself. So it's like, this guy's crazy. It's insane how much stuff they've put in. So speaking of, I mentioned a big grenade launcher there.
Yes.
You have the actual diving aspect of it is quite in depth as well. Like, surprisingly, it starts off with just, it seems like you're collecting resources, avoiding a few of the more aggressive fish, but you have a lot of different quests that pop up, things to find that will, further other things. The combat's quite simple. You've got like a melee, you've got like a harpoon thing, which is your usual way of like getting fish, and there are different sort of like little mini games depending on the different like harpoon arrow tips, or however you'd say. Like, you get like different items that you can pick up as well. The other thing is you have a gun that you can use, various different types of underwater guns.
Okay.
And then a bunch of gadgets as well. Some of them, mines. Some of them help you like swim faster. There's a lot. There's a lot there. And it's a sort of good mix between upgrades that you can do permanently and items and guns that you'll find just on that one run. And then, once you take them out of the water, they disintegrate.
Right.
I don't know. I can't remember the crazy logic that they use there.
Yeah.
It's it's all very tongue-in-cheek. But it's certainly a lot. Just trying to explain all the features, and as I do that, I remember half a dozen other things.
It's always the way, isn't it? But good.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. You've got a lot of other things as well, like okay, don't be alarmed, cards. It's not really a card system. It's just like a sticker book.
Right.
Like you just you have a bunch of different apps on your phone menu, which serves as a menu. And one of those is just like, oh, you can collect all these fish. Other things are like sort of miscellaneous. I suppose not even side quests, but little check the box sort of things that you can do. And it's just really nice.
A lot to
really
it.
Delightful thing. Super satisfying, and it keeps getting deeper and deeper. And it's it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that, James. Thanks for your thoughts.
No problem.
Are you was it a one-off stream, or do you think you might carry on? Or
Well, it's interesting. Like I would probably play a lot more, but I don't know how long it goes on for, so I probably won't stream it again, but I might revisit it quite soon. Yeah, so that could be quite interesting.
Oh, well, good. And it's out on what?
So it's on just on PC at the minute.
Right.
I played it on the Steam version, but if you're having a listen to this this weekend, then it's currently on a Steam sale. So just a little bit less than £17, or your equivalent in dollars.
Brilliant.
So yeah, just really charming, really nice art style, super satisfying to play. A lot of fun.
Fantastic. Cool. Well, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go back to the podcast.
All right. Well, I better
get out.
Go on. See you later. Bye.
It's time for question 2 now. Comes from Nexus Polaris. Hey BAP, sandbox games are getting bigger in scope and scale with every new release. Do you think the GTA 6's map will pale in comparison to Starfield's 1,000 planets / 10-year story? Or will there be enough content / map to keep people playing the game for 10 plus years like GTA 5 already has?
Thank you, Nexus Polaris. I think that GTA 6 can just release and do exactly what it was going to do and does not need to worry about the fact that there's also Starfield with 1,000 planets and a 10-year story. Like, even if GTA 6 only, in big air quotes, only has a map the size of GTA 5 or, even twice as big as that, and it doesn't have anywhere near 1,000 planets or, equivalent, if it comes out like that, that's still great. That's all you need from GTA, a big city or 2 or 3 to have a lot of fun in. And without a doubt, they're going to do what they've been doing for GTA 5, which is just put loads more content out over years and years and years. So I certainly think that it can compete with the fact that Starfield apparently has this 10-year plan. I have no doubts at all that GTA 6 will also have a 10 plus year plan. But in terms of map size, as we've said, I think a few times on recent podcasts, I'd be glad if it wasn't too big, to be honest. I guess GTA is a bit different to something like an Ubi world where, I don't want those worlds to be massive. But GTA, it can be as big as it likes because I'm not going around worrying about collecting things. It's just having the biggest playground to play in. So in that sense, maybe it can be a lot bigger than some of the other maps that we're getting right now that are too big for me. But I don't mind necessarily how big or small it is because I know it's just going to be GTA and it's going to be fun. So.
I don't think about GTA 5 that's kept people coming back isn't like the map or the city being huge or interesting. It's more like the content that they've been continuously producing and giving people new things to do. I almost think that like Skyrim doesn't do it as well as GTA 5 does. Obviously, Skyrim is still like constantly coming out and people are still playing it all the time. But I think people play Skyrim because they like to do their own thing in it rather than GTA where they kind of do the narrative that's given to them by the game / the additional content that's been allowed to them. I think that Rockstar did a great thing by letting people make their own content in GTA 5 with the map makers and like the race stuff that you can do. I think that's some of the most of the stuff that I see people playing nowadays is like the heist stuff, or they're on like role play servers where they're like role playing as police officers and stuff. That's like where GTA 5 still gets its content from. It's people making their own fun now, which is great because that's kind of, what games should be. I don't necessarily think that, like you say, they have to worry about the size of the map. I don't think they have to worry about, will people have hours and hours of gameplay? Because some people, like us, will just play through like the main campaign or the story that's presented to us and then maybe like not touch it again until 3 years time when someone says, do you want to play some GTA online with me? And I was like, sure, let's play for 3 hours and then never play it again. Great idea. But some people will do the campaign, then go online and just stay online for like 6 years, exactly 10 years. And Rockstar will keep pumping out content for it until we beg them, plead with them, please just make another game, for the love of God. But yeah, it's interesting to like see how that's going to pan out. But I don't think they have to worry. They're two very different vibes. I feel like some people see 1,000 planets, me, and they say, that's too many. No thanks, don't want that many. And also, taking up 10 years of my time, no thanks. I've got other things to do, guys.
But it's okay because 900 of the planets don't have any life on them.
They haven't got anything on,
apparently.
So really, it'll only take me 1 year to finish everything, if we're going by that logic. But it's good to have content plan. It will turn very live servicey, I'm sure, very quickly after release. But as long as it releases with enough content that like I feel justifiable in playing like what probably will be a £70 price tag, then that's fine. But if we're releasing it like a live service game, no thank you, do not want, no thanks. So hopefully they'll do GTA 5 and they'll release the game and then they'll be like, and also the content's coming in a minute.
Fingers crossed.
So
I think it depends on their approach. As we've spoken about before, this is the first Grand Theft Auto game that will not have Dan Houser being involved after he left GTA, or Rockstar, sorry, some time ago. And they will have learned loads from GTA Online over the past 10 years, because when Nexus Polaris is talking about, well, they've managed to keep people playing GTA 5 for 10 years, it's not the single player.
No.
It's the online.
Yeah.
So we currently do not know what form this game is going to take. It could be, as you say, a live service nightmare. It could be a blend of single player and online stuff. You know, you do single player missions, but you see real other online players wandering the streets and stuff like that.
Like Destiny.
Or it could be, as before, it could have a dedicated single player mode, and then you press a button and it takes you to online, and then there's an online version of the city. They will build the city that they need for the kind of game that they're making. I wouldn't be shocked to discover that it's bigger than GTA 5's map, but I don't necessarily know that it needs to be. As you guys said, I think it all comes down to how much content they have ready to go, and if people actually want to get stuck into it. If they give players the tools immediately to make their own stuff, that's going to, you know, with a platform, turning GTA into a platform with GTA being the brand that it is only means that it's going to have longevity as long as it works. Like, that's going to be the big thing. If they do make a hybrid game that's live service and single player sort of combined, and the servers are buggered from day one, and with a launch as big as GTA 6, you know it's going to have a lot of people trying to get in the door day one. Then that's going to seriously hamper it. But GTA Online just straight up didn't work for like 4-5 months after launch, and then it started to stabilize, and even then it wasn't hugely in depth, and it's only become bigger and bigger as it's gone. So it will be interesting to see if it launches with a significant portion of online content for people to get stuck into, like all the heists, or if they just have literally a 10-year content plan where it's like, okay, this is what you're getting at launch, the rest of this stuff is technically ready, but we're just going to drip feed it to you over the next year or so. I don't know. I do not know. I'm not interested in an online only GTA. That's not for me at all. But I would sort of be shocked if there wasn't some kind of exclusive single player component.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
they've got to. I mean, it's a good point you make. I kind of forgot that like Starfield's just single player, and they've got this 10-year campaign. Which maybe will work, maybe it won't. But I forgot about the single player. Starfield's just for you for 10 years.
Yeah,
I don't think I can't think of any game that I've played. There are games that I've played where DLC has come out within 6 months, and I'm like, I'm over it. I'm not going back to that game. It's been too long. 10 years. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I've also not heard of this 10-year plan for Starfield, but if that's true, then that's mental.
I googled it when I saw the question, and there was some headlines saying that they've got a 10-year plan.
Is it a Todd Howard 10-year plan?
Is
it one of those quotes,
I
or is
I
it
don't have time to read it? But
sort of Peter Molyneux-esque?
Yeah.
Like, is it really 10 years,
if you plant
Todd?
a tree, it will grow 10
or is
years
it just
later.
that you've got DLC expansions planned for once every 1 year or 2 year or something, and actually you're going to play them for maybe a month at a time, or a few weeks at a time, and then
no,
stop.
you're going to play this every day for 10 years.
I don't want to, Todd.
Your kids will be old enough to go to school and beyond, and you'll still be playing Starfield.
You only get the platinum if you manually fly to every planet.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
there
that's
will
part
be
of the platinum.
something for that, won't there? Some tracker.
Yeah.
How many
Touch
planets
every
have you
planet.
visited? Touch grass on every planet.
But
There's no grass.
You'll struggle on 900.
On the gas
There's
planets.
No grass.
Yeah.
Well, if there was a trophy for touching grass on every single planet in Starfield, that would be a bit strange, wouldn't it?
It would
Bit
be a bit strange.
peculiar, perhaps.
Might even make the news.
It's weird news time.
Oh, it's weird news.
It's weird news time for some weird video game news. Remember, if you want to submit weird video game news to us, you can do so by responding to the relevant social media post that goes out on Facebook and Twitter on a Tuesday. However, if you want to guarantee a shout out at this point in the podcast, you need to go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump, support us at a certain tier, and become a podcast producer just like
GY Goliath.
Oh my god, that was good. Yeah, sorry. Nicole Hansen,
Duncan Wilson,
Katie Garrett or Jared.
Ellie Nicholas,
Nexus Polaris.
Gabrielle Philippink.
Wait, what?
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 No.
Sorry.
Gabrielle Philippink.
And Blake Thomas.
And Blake Thomas.
Some of you got
Did I have a
multiple-
stroke? I think
Yeah.
I may have done.
It's all good. It's just a weird time, isn't it?
God, I literally was just completely disassociated when you started talking, and I was just not listening to what
It's
was
another
going.
world.
Yeah.
Thank you, podcast producers, very much for your
Thank you.
support.
Thank you.
Peter, have you got some weird news?
Got some weird news that was submitted on Facebook from Josh Lees. It's according to kotaku.com.au. Crikey.
Katakao.
Katakao,
Yeah,
yeah.
Katakao. From Emily Spindler, who says, Diablo 4 billboard reminded people of lockdown, advertising complaint claims.
What?
Okay.
Hang on.
It sounded grammatically confusing, but it is correct.
Say it again.
I'll reword it for you. An advertising complaint claims that Diablo 4 billboard reminded people of lockdown.
Oh, okay.
You made it English. That's the Australian way
Right,
of saying
okay.
it.
It was
back to
upside down.
front.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A Diablo 4 billboard greeting arrivals near Melbourne's Essendon Airport has seen complaints submitted to the Australian Ad Standards Community Panel, with at least one complainant alleging that the ad brings back, quote, memories of lockdown and vilifies religious groups. The ad features the game's villain and daughter of hatred, Lilith, accompanied by the text, "Welcome to Hell, Melbourne." And it says in brackets, they missed the opportunity to create a Hellborn pun, honestly. And Diablo 4, and also the Diablo 4 release date and logo. Guardian Australia.
What? How has that got anything to do with lockdown?
Well,
vilifying religious groups.
well, you'll learn all about it now.
Sorry, of course.
Sorry.
Guardian Australia reporter Josh Taylor spotted the complaint report, sharing it to Twitter. In the Ad Standards Community Panel case report for the billboard, a number of complaints from concerned community members were outlined. One anonymous comment suggested the ad promoted evil and satanic paraphernalia,
Okay.
while another said that their children had nightmares after seeing it.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. It's just a picture of Lilith,
just
not
not
actually
true.
looking that scary.
If anything, it'll awaken something in them.
Yeah.
That's true. One particular comment said that while it was frightening for kids, quote, even as an adult, it brought back memories of the hell of the 2 years of lockdowns in Melbourne.
Right,
What? Okay,
that's
that's a
an
stretch.
absolute
It's the biggest stretch I've ever heard.
big reach.
While I don't personally remember the part in Diablo 4 where I had to fight a family of four for a pack of toilet paper, or where the main character sang a tone-deaf rendition of Imagine by John Lennon.
Oh my God.
It seems like our demonic mother had some community members up in arms. A similar billboard was placed in Brisbane as well, although complaints seem to be levelled more towards the Melbourne version. And there's
Can we go back? Can we go back to? Can we just go back into lockdown again, just for fun, just for a laugh, just so that this person can really
Yeah.
Suffer the hell.
see what the flip they're talking about.
And there's an embedded version of the tweet that just says, I think basically it feels inappropriate to show disgusting and disturbing content on a billboard where children are seeing this on a daily basis. It has no context, and for an adult of 43, I found it unsettling. Oh, brilliant.
For a parent of 43,
Yeah.
I've got 43 children.
and they're all outraged.
Yeah, they good. Thanks, kids crying.
The COVID Melbourne hell complaint specifically says the language and words used are not necessary to get across the message about the release of the game. What?
Wow.
Just the phrase "Welcome to Hell." Full stop.
Melbourne.
Here's a release
That's the
date.
problem.
Melbourne is the word.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
don't like Melbourne. The word.
The
I
place.
find it very upsetting.
Yeah, that's true.
Reminds me of lockdown.
Yeah. Triggered. I have an article, comes from Nintendo Life. Random. A Last of Us clone is available on Switch, but seriously, don't bother.
Don't
This
bother.
is by Ollie Reynolds, and he says, "There's
Do you
no
know who
hope."
submitted it to you?
Oh yeah, sorry, it was Jonathan Wong. Thank you on
Thanks,
Facebook. If you're a fan of PlayStation's The Last of Us, then look away now. Heck, even if you're not a fan, just look away. It's bad, folks. It is bad. I've watched the advert and it's really bad.
Do we need to play it?
Yeah, I'll show you just a clip of it in a second because it's terrible. A Last of Us clone has appeared on the Switch eShop and as expected, it's pretty terrible. Titled The Last Hope, Dead Zone Survival, it's also excruciatingly shameless, borrowing numerous elements from Naughty Dog's horror masterpiece. See that girl in the promotional image and gameplay footage? Yeah, that's not Ellie, but you'd be forgiven for thinking otherwise. Here's a picture of the to
Yes,
like.
that's Ellie.
Yeah.
That's Ellie.
And they use
That is Ellie.
what is essentially her model as like
What was it?
a
I'm
companion.
going to look up the God of War one again because I love the title of that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
rip-off
Oh,
God of
yeah.
War one.
Father of
War of
God
God,
of-
son of
Son of
War.
War.
Son
or
of War,
something.
yeah. Wasn't it Zeus something? Yeah.
Yes, God of Sun or something.
Yeah. The eShop listing promised a boatload of intriguing features, including a captivating plot, immersive graphics. What's it called?
War God Zeus of Child.
Oh yeah.
Zeus of Child, not Child of Zeus.
No.
Yeah, Zeus of Child.
Engaging gameplay mechanics. Okay. Also, rather hilariously, it's been uploaded under the first-person shooter category. This definitely ain't first person. Oh yeah, it's also in third person as well.
Right.
Excellent.
And we've also tried it out ourselves because that's what we do. We play games like this so you don't have to. And yes, it's awful. We won't even go into how dreadful it looks or how bad the gameplay is because that's just obvious at this point.
What's it called?
It's called The Last Hope Dead
Zeus
Zone
of Sun.
Dead Zone Survival.
Dead Zone Survival.
What we will mention, however, is the game has implemented a mechanic whereby you have to scavenge food in order to rebuild your stamina. If you don't, you can't attack, like at all.
Oh, wow.
Ridiculous. Anyway, don't bother with The Last Hope. And let me I'll leave it on silent so it doesn't. But this is the advert for it. So it's in like some kind of weird spaceship.
Oh,
at
we
the
need to
beginning.
play it. It's current. It's down from $8.99 to 99p.
Well, we can definitely give it a go.
After the articles have...
But apparently it's all like stock sound and models and stuff.
Oh hell yeah! Right, I'm buying it. It's 88% off, everyone. Oh yeah, absolutely. We need to play this.
What did you say? This is on Switch?
Yeah, it was time to intervene, it says.
Oh,
With what?
we could play this after Resident Evil, couldn't we? On
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe do one.
I just want to show it when Ellie like pops up in the background. So this is the gameplay. They're
Yeah.
shooting now at some zombies.
First person shooter.
Yeah,
in third
in third person. Oh, look, you're going to miss it.
The lighting's good.
Ready? Oh, come on, show me it. Show me it.
Give us Ellie.
There she is.
That is Ellie.
It's just
She's just
She's just
there.
stood like right,
Just A posing.
right behind. It's
Oh,
good stuff.
Good news. I can use my Nintendo Gold points and I can get this game for 37p. So that's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
I'm going to buy it. 37p. Last Hope Dead Zone Survival.
But they specifically told you not to buy it in the article.
Well, but I'll earn 2 gold points and then I can get more pennies off future bad games.
Random.
Random.
I bought it. It's happening. It's got horror and moderate violence in it.
Oh.
So,
Good.
Contains horror, moderate violence, and Ellie from The Last of
Yeah.
Us.
yeah. Oh, okay, it's done. The download will start automatically. Where? Which Switch is it going to download on? Well, I bought it, so we'll have to play it, won't we?
Yes,
Sorry,
we
everyone. My weird news comes courtesy of me. I found it.
Whoa.
will. Whoa.
It's
Well
from Nintendo Life.
Ran-
No.
Oh.
Pokemon launches official community forums and it's already a disaster.
I think I've seen this.
This is from Liam Doolan. There's a picture.
I've not
Pokemon,
seen this.
welcome to the community.
If it's what I think it is, I saw just a tweet with some screenshots of the
Yeah.
forums.
Oh, people
It's
have
bad.
been poking Pokeporn on it.
Well,
Well,
close. No,
no,
but
not
as
quite.
close as you can get. This is from Wednesday at 2 a.m., so it may have been sorted by now. The Pokemon Company recently launched official community forums on its website, allowing trainers to stay up to date with the latest news, discuss all things related to Pokemon, and even help out other community members. While it sounds like a great way for trainers to interact with each other, the forums are already in need of some serious moderation. The boards are currently being spammed with all sorts of topics. In the general section, there are posts like, which Pokemon would you eat? And other stuff we can't even repeat here. So I'm going to read some of these. One of them I'm not, because it's just pornographic. Which Pokemon is the hottest? I am immeasurably attracted to Gardevoir. Does anyone think the Charizard as my profile picture looks homeless?
Yes. This is the
Homeless?
screenshot I've seen.
Miiverse is back. And who in the world thought this was a good idea? Those are just
Which
some.
one's the one you won't read?
Top one.
Oh, right, yeah.
It seems irrelevant and it's just pornographic.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read that one.
What was the one that they're... what was it? Irreversibly attracted
Oh,
to?
Gardevoir. Gardevoir. This has been a long-running thing in the Pokemon community because the Pokemon is sort of feminine looking.
Yeah, I think
And
I've seen this.
There's been, I believe,
I see, right.
it's a long-running thing.
She's so fit.
She's fit, man.
She's so fit.
Some trainers are referring to this community forum launch as Miiverse 2.0. Fortunately, the discussion does seem to be more on topic in other areas, like the trading card game section. According to the forum's official rules and guidelines, the board is meant to encourage users to contribute in a positive way. It also doesn't approve of foul language or inappropriate themes and mentions how staff reserves the right to take disciplinary action if individuals are having a negative impact on the community. If you are game enough to participate in the community discussions on the Pokemon forums, you'll need to log in or create a Pokemon Trainer Club account. There we are.
I'd like to do disciplinary action on that hot Pokemon.
Yeah, so there we are. That's,
Gardevoir.
comments are good.
Wow.
What did you think of Gardevoir when you looked? Good?
Yeah.
Is it what you wanted?
It's just a cartoon drawing of not even a real person.
Hey.
It's just a
That's
skirt
someone's
with
girlfriend you're talking
It's
about.
a skirt with no legs, I don't think.
No,
It's
well,
just no
I don't know.
legs.
I
And
think
then
it's a psychic Pokemon.
torso with sort of, it looks like she's kind of got breasts, but
She's
they're
got like a big
they
blade
kind of
shape.
but they I was
going to
say they're sort of horn shaped or something. She's got the horn for
It's
us.
just one of those.
Yeah,
It's
look,
like
she's got like spiky boobs.
She has got spiky
it's a
boobs.
bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't really understand it, but
she does have legs actually as
there's
well.
a similar, I think, fandom and following for Machoke for similar reasons, just because it's basically a muscly man, and that's it.
So why don't they like Mr. Mime? Because he looks like a man.
Yeah, he's fit too.
fit
Yeah.
too.
Mr. Mime is very attractive.
Yeah, but he can't
Hottest Pokemon.
machoke you if that's what you want.
No.
He can just
No,
sort
but
of
he can
be in a glass
must
box.
steal
Look
your
at the size of
mum.
those fingers.
Yeah, and you know what they
And
say?
feet.
Big feet, small penis.
Yeah.
I've heard it. It's true. It's time for the big discussion. It's big discussion time. Time for the big video game discussion that this week comes courtesy of Bartek Kubica. Bap, can you believe it? The Sims 5 will probably be a free-to-play game with a lot of microtransactions. Many people from the industry and the press consider this procedure to be the natural course of things. What do you think about it? Will this trend catch on? Will we see, for example, the FIFA from EA in a similar form? I think you mean EA Sports Club.
Yeah.
Or will it go unnoticed like Tekken Revolution or Ace Combat Infinity? Bartek, thank
Thanks,
you, Bartek.
Bartek.
When I go live to our Sims correspondent,
Well,
Ashton
did you want to do a
Matthews.
little read up first?
I've got a little read, and then
You've got a read.
And then
Ashton,
I'm ready and
Sims
waiting.
expert, is ready
Okay.
to go. This is from PC Gamer, this write-up. If you'd put money on The Sims 5 being free to play at launch, you can cash out your winnings now and go put them in a secure location so you can buy all of the inevitable DLC in its wake. According to an EA job posting spotted by Sims community, the next Sims will be a free-to-enter game. The, get ready for this job title, the head of marketplace and monetization job posting has since been pulled from EA's job portal, but was specific to the next major Sims game, currently codenamed Project Renee. Two of the role's primary responsibilities were listed as own Project Renee's in-game marketplace of content and UGC, free and paid. I think that's user-generated content.
Yeah.
And also own pricing of all content in this free-to-enter game. From those two bullets, we can draw a couple of reasonable conclusions for The Sims 5. One, the base game will likely be free to own, meaning continued reliance on DLC like expansions, game packs, and kits. And two, EA is expecting some UGC, bloody hell, put a bullet in my head, user-generated content to be paid for, meaning they are likely planning to let modders and CC creators...
Content. I can't remember
Community-
Custom content, community
content.
Custom content.
Okay. Creators sell creations to others and take a cut of profit.
Haven't they
Yeah.
done that already with, aren't there a few people who have, they've made like content and then it's officially become part of packs, or is
So-
that not true?
They've reached out to modders and CC creators to help with like packs
Right.
and kits and stuff, and been like, this is this guy's pack, but most of the time they're just doing it off their own
Okay,
packs, and
right.
normally they have like a Patreon where you can get early access to their kits and stuff that they're making. So I did a little Google. So if you don't know already, Sims 4 is currently free to play and has been, I think, for about a year or so. And before that, it was literally like £7. And like you just got the base game, which was just like bare minimum gameplay of your Sims will go to work and come home and have relationships and you can build and create them and stuff.
Will they breed?
They will breed,
The
yeah.
spiders and so on.
They will continually breed
Unstoppably, yeah.
unstoppably, yeah. And I Googled it, And for the total cost of all of the Sims 4 expansions gameplay, there's kits, there's game packs, there's expansion packs, there is, oh my God, there's another kind as well, like a smaller pack. All of them, they cost a total of £1,064.45. Well, that's dollars, sorry. And then £974.35. Total for every single pack. If you buy them full price, that is, obviously you can sometimes get them on discount, but never really more than half price. So like maximum, you're probably going to still end up paying around about £500 to £600 for all the packs. That's obviously if you want all of them. And unless you're like someone who's making Sims content / someone who's really like, it's the only game you play, most people don't own every single pack. Like I've picked and chosen which ones I own and, you know, depending on the kind of gameplay I like. But they have been heading in the direction of it's free to play, but you have to pay for everything. Like they're releasing these things called kits in the last, I think, 2 years. I think they started during the pandemic, which are like the smallest possible thing you can get. Like game packs would add stuff to like the gameplay. You have expansion packs would add like entire new worlds and like content and stuff. These kits are just like underwear kit. You spend £5 and you get like a bunch of underwear.
Oh,
or
yeah.
You
You
get,
just go to Tesco and do that as well.
Yeah.
yeah, or you spend like £5 and you get one kitchen set and stuff. So they've been gradually kind of seeing what they can get away with in terms of these things. And obviously you've also got custom content, which you can go online, download and add to your game for free most of the time. This thing's called the Sims resource. And there are like content custom creators who will like list stuff on Patreon, which you can get early access to, but then they'll have stuff that's free eventually because the Sims won't let you charge for your stuff. People can obviously go on Patreon and support you in making the stuff. So there's all kinds of ways people like get around paying for the packs. However, from what I've seen about The Sims 5, you're not going to be able to do that anymore because they're going to limit custom content and user-created content to the whatever marketplace they're using.
I can see that they wouldn't want that to become...
No, exactly. The Sims
way to not
3
pay them.
used to do this thing that was like a marketplace kind of thing where they'd list like a bunch of like individual items and you can have like these Sims buck things, which eventually I think... Well, they were money, but you kind of earned them. It's like a mobile game that you can earn a currency in game, but if you want more of it, you have to pay money to buy the currency and stuff. Which they did have. You can buy like an individual dress or like for like what was maybe like 10p, and then like, you know, eventually it probably adds up, but it's your own shopping that you're doing basically, rather than being like spend £5 for a pack, but also in 2 days time there'll be another pack coming out. So this is kind of where they've been going for a while, and people don't like it. I think people don't mind if it's free to play, but it's really, they said in a recent live stream that, and I don't think they meant it to be like this, I think they were kind of doing like about the gameplay itself, but they literally said we're kind of trialing to see how little we can get away with, was an actual line from one of their recent live streams.
Well, the thing that's bugged me for a long time about seeing Sims from, I mean, I don't play it, but Amy does, and so I kind of see it from an outside perspective, is that as far as I remember, Sims 2 came with stuff like pets was just part of the base game. So you had Sims 1 originally came out, and then they started doing all these expansion packs, and they did like Sims Unleashed, and you could get pets. And Sims 2 came out, and that had pets in it already, and it probably had most of the things that were in the expansion packs of Sims 1. But then as the series has progressed, they've taken those things out of the base game again. So you now have to, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't get pets in the base game of Sims 4.
No.
And you're not going to be getting them in Sims 5. And it just seems really cheeky to me.
Yeah, like they took pets out, so then you had to buy, well, pets was out in Sims 3, you had to buy pets in Sims 3. But then like recently in the other Sims games, you would have like babies were like an entity that would, you know, interact with things. And then they got rid of that in Sims 4. So babies were literally just objects. Like you could just move them around like objects until they became a toddler.
Right.
And then recently they released like a baby pack. And they were like, so because we're doing this, the whole game gets a revamp in the way babies work. So babies are now like actual little creatures that you can interact with and raise and stuff. However, if you want a changing table for the baby, that's in the pack. So
the baby just has to live in squalor.
Yeah, kind of. So there was like all this stuff where it's like, we'll give you like 3 items for the baby, but if you want the actual stuff where the gameplay is designed for, that's That's in the Generations pack. Well, the same thing they did with weddings. They changed the way weddings worked, but if you wanted the weddings to work well, it didn't work. Basically, it was broken. But eventually, when they fixed it, they were like, well, you can have a wedding, but unless you have all of this
be the one that you want.
mechanics and stuff, it's just not going to work. So, yeah, it does feel like they've been like taking stuff off you that you kind of didn't realize they'd taken off you until they give it back to you, but you have to pay for it. So, yeah, I think EA have been trying to get away with this for a long time, and I'm not surprised, and it'll be interesting to see what it's like when it releases, especially given that there's new games coming out that hopefully will give it a run for its money. Things like Life by You is coming out soon. So, yeah, hopefully it will change, but it's not going
to sort of answer Bartek's question, I can see more games going this way just generally in the sense of becoming free to play, having extra content you can download, or becoming live service. And that's one thing. I mean, I still don't like that. We've talked about how the fact we don't like live service games, and I'm not a big fan of free to play games. Like, actually, with the new Crash game, you do have to pay for the base game. But there was, when that was in development, people were talking about this might be free to play, and I was thinking, I don't want it to be free to play. But there's like free to play, and then there's free to play, and by the sounds of it, EA are doing Sims in slightly sinister way, really, I think.
Well, it says free to enter, which I think is, telling
well,
us.
I mean, even just based on what they're currently doing with The Sims 4, where, as you've just described, with like things like the babies and the weddings and stuff, that, they're almost like kind of almost paywalling integral mechanics and like stuff that, you really can't thoroughly enjoy the game without. And personally, I'd rather just pay like a sort of a full price to have all the stuff that I consider to be a core mechanic or a core feature to just be in the game from the get-go. And I guess ultimately, if I just buy all the DLC for a game immediately, it still works out as the same thing. I'm still paying probably ultimately like 70 quid to get all the stuff that I consider necessary. But I don't know. It just seems a bit like the fact that if you don't get any discounts on anything, you could theoretically spend £1,000 on Sims content. Just seems odd.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. It seems like a sort of like a capitalist nightmare. Like, hey, we've given you the game. Hey, it's fun, guys. You can build your own game. Buy the bits that you want. Don't buy the bits that you don't deem necessary. It's like, well, hey, what kind of creative vision is this for like an experience for your players and your fans? If you're like, the power's in your hands to construct the perfect Sims experience for you. It's like, bugger off. Just sell me a game that works. Don't sell me a skeleton.
Well, that's another
build
thing,
it.
is that EA have this very recent reputation of every single thing they launch for The Sims doesn't work.
Yeah, I've heard that.
There's still stuff that's coming out in The Sims like the gallery, for example, in The Sims that's been there since day one, which you can upload your houses to, people can play your characters that you upload there. It's rubbish. It doesn't work. It categorically is broken, and it has always been broken. They released packs that don't work. Like when Weddings came out, it broke the entire game. Your Sims, your Sims would not get married because it was broken, and then like you couldn't do anything about it, and you'd pay for the pack, and they released it broken, and all of the Sims game changers, which are like the content creators that are kind of given early access, were like, well, it doesn't work. Do not buy this pack. Like, we got early access to it and it's broken, and we thought maybe it'll be fixed, but it's not. It's still broken. So
yeah, that sucks. It's a crappy approach. Not only is it like anti-consumer and anti-player, but if it just fundamentally doesn't work, then they clearly are. What was it that they said in that live stream? Seeing how little they can get away. Yeah, then it's that's exactly what they're doing. And I don't know if it's because the team is probably massively overworked, let's be honest. But I don't know if they just don't have enough staff on it or what, but it's not acceptable to be releasing anything in that state, especially when it's something that should just be part of the game.
No, all this, the Sims gurus, they're trying their best. That's what they're called.
Sims gurus.
So
EA
have got this really weird thing where like all the Sims gurus, which are like the development for teams, they like do like the live streams and present the packs and stuff. But they're all on Twitter as like Sim Guru Ben, for example.
I think it's
people are getting like attacked and stuff because they've put these developers
Yeah,
at, like,
it's a
the
very
forefront.
deliberate choice to sort of, I
Yeah.
think, play up to their community and the kind of thing that their community wants. And I feel like maybe The Sims is, and I mean no disrespect to the hardworking boys, girls, and others of the Sims community, the Sims games playing community.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe EA sees The Sims as the perfect trial audience, almost like an easy target to try this free to play model on, because hey, we've taken away stuff in the past and they're still flocking to it, so let's try it with these guys. And then, you know, there's a good chance that maybe they will give it another go with other franchises and it'll fall on its ass, because, you know, you try it with the FIFA boys and they absolutely go feral.
Well, this is the thing as well. I think, look, not to like generalize and also like patronize, but a lot of people who play The Sims, they just play The Sims, and that's the only game they play. They've played it since they were younger. A lot of them are like female, non-binary, like leaning. So it's a lot more kind of, as you know, polite natured as women are, they're less likely to go complain about stuff. Obviously, there are still the vocal minority online who will go after like the Sims gurus and attack, but people will just be like, that's a shame, I'll wait till it's fixed, rather than being like, you can't keep getting away with this. Like, there's a lot more like mellow natured in the Sims community, because it's a lot more like individual gamers that just play The Sims or Stardew Valley, things like that. The typical games for girls, but they won't. I've noticed a lot more that people won't get angry about it as much. There's still,
I'd
like
say
I
it
say,
fits
people
within
are,
the
but-
wholesome game community,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that audience is, as you say, less vocal by their nature.
Yeah. Whereas if you go for like FIFA,
Yeah,
you don't
you're
go.
gonna-
You can say one bad thing about FIFA,
You're going
and
to
they will
encounter
come in for
some
you,
pretty
so-
fierce resistance, and I think it's maybe not the best example that I gave of FIFA, just because that's an annualized franchise, or the EA Sports Club,
yeah.
whatever the
Football,
flip it's called,
something.
is an annualized franchise, and so people are used to getting essentially the same product every year, and I mean that in the sense that if something so fundamental as, hey, it's free this year, but you have to pay for your favorite team.
But as well, now
that's
they've lost
just not
FIFA.
gonna...
If they'll like take this as opportunity.
Well, maybe,
to-
yeah. The new rebrand, they might be able to just completely tip it on its head. And a lot of people, as we've spoken about before, are still going to buy whatever FIFA game gets put out, because they don't know that EA don't have that license anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know that.
Well, that's why EA might need to. Perhaps that'll be the one thing that stops them trying it on their new football
Maybe.
game in the first instance, because they might have to play it safe and
You
just
can't bungle the launch.
no,
No.
do the most FIFA game they can do without the name FIFA, and just say, hey, this is that thing that you've always loved. We're still doing it. Look how great it is.
Yeah.
And then maybe in the second one that they inevitably make, they can start dicking about.
Maybe. I mean, out of all of the games out there, I think it makes the most sense for sports titles to be free-to-play live service, as much as I hate the sound of that, just because you kind of need roster updates. You kind of
Yeah.
need team updates, and largely, you know, the graphical capabilities of FIFA titles have improved, but you don't really need to release like a fundamental redesign for at least 5 years, 5 or 6 years. It can you know, look the same, and you can just iterate on it. I personally don't like that approach, but if I was playing devil's advocate, that would be the most logical place to start.
There's a reason to implement it there, whereas there's not necessarily a reason to implement it.
It's just
in
to make
certain
as
other
much
genres.
money off Sims fans as
Yeah.
possible, isn't it? And judging by the hiring process here, it sounds like that is definitely going to happen,
Yeah.
and it may not even work,
Yeah.
which is very sad.
Yes.
But we'll see. Ashton will tell you more, I'm sure, when The Sims 5 ultimately releases.
It's not going to be there for a while, I don't think. We saw some test footage recently,
Oh yeah.
and it was very, very test footage.
Were you meant to?
There
Was
a-
it leaked?
Yeah, it
or-
was. No, it was a video live stream.
Oh, okay.
And they released like, look at the game, and it was this town, and one of the buildings said gym, one of them said cafe, and it was like a bland building, and there was little like blobs walking around.
And for
So-
just $4.99, you
Yeah.
can get a real gym
You
in
can
your
get
town.
gym.
Turn the blobs into Sims.
yeah.
Very exciting. Yeah, I'm just picturing like all of the ways they could monetize it, and
So
I'm
many
able to
ways.
think of a lot of ways, like
Yeah.
really horrible ways, like, oh, you want to move house? You got to pay money
Mm-hmm.
to move house in The Sims. There's so many horrible things they could do. Hopefully it's not that bad, but we will see. As always, we want to hear what you think of this and all the things we've spoken about today. Let us know in the comments below, and loads of other places around the internet that Peter's going to tell you about right now.
YouTube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump. YouTube for our videos and Twitch for our live streams. If you've got Amazon Prime, you're already, you might not know this, paying for a Twitch sub. It's in the bundle, so you can spend that on us at no extra cost and get all the normal benefits. When we're streaming on Twitch, we're modded by Lobrotovich, Trailing Badger, and Mr. Black. You can also find us on twitter.com and facebook.com/Team TripleJump for video and live stream announcements, legacy video content, bits of weird news, all sorts of things put there by Fraser. Thank you, Fraser.
Thank you, Fraser.
TikTok.com/@Team TripleJump for all sorts of things put there by Ashton. I say all sorts of things. They're all TikToks, but some of them are, different to others.
Yeah, some of them are different to others.
Yeah.
They're all different, in fact.
They're all different. Patreon.com/Team TripleJump for our Patreon rewards. Lots of different tiers, so you can look at them and see if one of them takes your fancy.
We have a website, triplejU.mp, spells jump, it's very clever. And if you want to join Discord, triplej.mup/Discord. Chat with our wonderful community. Over there, we're modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. And if I tell you to do something, bloody well do it, all right? If you listen to the podcast in its audio forms, why not go to triplej.mup/podcast and to catch up on any of our live stream VODs, triplej.mup/VODs. To book any of us or James Jenkins on Cameo, why not go to triplej.mup/Cameo. And lastly, if you want to buy some sick and cool merch like that hoodie or that hoodie, or that t-shirt.
Yeah, we do, don't we? This is an old one.
But it's that in black. You can go to triplejumpshop.com and make sure you're following @TripleJumpShop on Twitter for the latest merch announcements. And if you would like to suggest some merch, you can go to Patreon. There is a post on there. Everyone on Patreon can see that. Or if you go to the Walrus Clan group on our Facebook page, there is also a post on there. And let us know what you would like to see from us.
Looking at the next drop, thinking about it. We've already got some ideas.
So let us know what you would like.
It'll unlikely any great ideas that you suggest either will be in the next drop because we've already put that into motion, or will likely be in the next one because the next the new drop is coming soon.
Yes.
It's exciting. Please be excited. Why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter @ThatPeterAustin and @ScrambledAshton, and myself just on Twitter @confused_dude. We do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday being the joint stream.
Plays it.
On Twitch, it's all on Twitch. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly, Friday for patrons of a certain tier, Sunday for everyone else. Weirdest Games is monthly, a week early for patrons. After Dark podcast is fortnightly on Monday for patrons. The podcast is every Saturday, and we do shows all the bloody time. Come check them out. Why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? It helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms, and we'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. A couple of things out this week, a couple of big things.
Yes, we ranked every single Barbie video game.
Life in Plastic.
The movie's coming out soon.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You're excited. Why not find out what games you can play on the lead up to the Barbie movie, but which one's the best? Well, we know. We rank them. That's coming. It's out now, so check it out on the channel.
It is. Came out yesterday. Go watch it. It's a good video.
Yeah. It's also a Worst Games Ever week. I'm desperately trying to remember what game we played.
It was
You didn't write it on the spreadsheet.
Hellboy, yes. Yeah. It's Hellboy. And it was good, bad. It was bad, good.
Yes.
Yes.
Reminded me of the Evil Dead game that we played. Very similar.
Groovy, etc. Just enough time to hear the sponsor this week once again, please, Ashton.
It is, of course, Neurotoxin Free 2, Lost Wiggles.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for watching / listening, everybody, and we will see you next time. Look after yourself.
Bye.
Bye.